everybody. Welcome back to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Craig DeLuz with the Firearms Policy Coalition here. We're here for day 2 in Chicago, talking gun rights. And there is no better person to be talking gun rights to. Someone with whom I can commiserate, because he too comes from a state that, well, let's just say many of the politicians don't exactly believe in the Second Amendment. With that, welcome to the show, Mr. Alexander Roubian. How you doing, sir?
Thanks for having me back on.
Fantastic.
Well, let's just clarify. They say they support the Second Amendment, but it's that classic, but...
Oh, yeah. Second Amendment butts. Our good friend from Arms Room Radio, Mike.
Yeah.
He's the one who...
Well, you're a good friend. I don't like him very much.
You don't like him very much? For those of you who do not know, Mike is sitting right there.
So that's going to be a fun and interesting show.
It is definitely going to be a fun and interesting show. So tell us, what is going on in New Jersey?
Well, what's not going on in New Jersey? I mean, I think something that we want to emphasize, and what I spoke about earlier at the conference, was our legislators say New Jersey should be the example throughout America of what gun laws should be. And that's something I want to emphasize to states that come from normal parts of America, is don't let America become like New Jersey. And, they want mandatory universal quote-unquote background checks, which means you wait 6 months to over 2 years sometimes for your permit to be processed, while they simultaneously tell us we'll do it when we feel like it.
Wait. We're not talking about that. This is not carry. This is
just
own a firearm.
Yep.
You have to wait up to 2 years.
And this is we've had people waiting over 2 years for their quote unquote permit to be processed. And this is the thing that, for your national listeners, that boggles their mind when I try to explain this. Most people from normal America, they go to a gun store, they fill out a 4473, which is a background check. It's the same background check that our state does, and they have to apply. So people from normal states, they go and fill out the 4473, they get the background check, and they go home that day. In New Jersey, you have to go beg to your police department for them to fill out what's called the FID, Firearm Identification Card, and process that. And then when they do their quote-unquote background check, which also includes interviewing ex-wives, ex-husbands, we've had people being denied a basic right to buy a firearm because their ex-spouse said bad things about them and did not feel comfortable based on feelings. No accusation of a crime, but based on feelings, they don't like their ex-spouse having a firearm. Okay,
so how does this stand up? I mean, how does this stand up under the Constitution?
Well, they say it's for public safety. And then what typically happens is groups like myself, like NJ2AS, get involved, and they have to appeal the process, where then, in many cases, it goes before a judge, and it's overturned. But this isn't a matter of public safety. These are just government agents that don't want people to own guns, so they make it as absolutely difficult, which includes intentionally denying them based on frivolous accusations or bogus, information, just so that a person will have to go spend thousands of dollars hiring an attorney, go through the appeal process, and have to go through hoops to try to exercise their right.
No, how crazy is that you have to go get an attorney to be able to exercise a fundamental right?
Exactly. I mean, imagine we were talking about any other fundamental right. The other side would be burning down cities if this happened to them. But, as gun owners, we're law-abiding, respectable people, and, we tolerate it. But there's a big shift going on, because now both sides are actually going out to purchase firearms, Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, and so forth. And I think it's starting to change. I think the narrative is starting to change on a statewide and a federal level. Gun ownership is at an all-time high from both ends of the spectrum.
So now you guys basically have gone from a Republican, not the best, but not the worst on guns, to now an anti-gun governor. What have you seen change legislatively, or the things that are being proposed and the things that are being signed into law in New Jersey?
Well, there's a lot of things. For years, we've been meeting with these legislators, and the irony is that the same legislators that said New Jersey has enough gun laws, after we explain the terror we deal with, the corruption we deal with, the delays that we deal with, those same legislators all turned their backs on gun owners and law-abiding New Jerseyans and voted to make the gun laws even worse. While they know women like Carol Bound, who were in fear for their lives and going out to apply for a gun permit so they can protect themselves, are being murdered. And Carol Bound, for those that don't know, just Google her name, is one example of hundreds every year of women that apply for gun permits in New Jersey and are either delayed or denied their right.
Do me a favor, share her story real quick.
Hey, the short version is a woman by the name of Carol Bound. She's a South Jersey woman. Got out of a very abusive relationship. The man was 6'6", 280 pounds. This big, very large man. She was 5 foot, 85 pounds, soaking wet. And the guy was harassing her. He beat her up a couple times. He would, vandalize her home. He would vandalize her car while she was at work. So she went out and applied for a gun permit. And in New Jersey, like I mentioned before, about the delays we deal with, and the cops tell us we'll do it when we feel like it. Every day she was going to the police department begging and literally verbatim saying, it's on the record. I have access to her diary. We have notes from the police department saying that this man is going to kill me. I need my gun. And ultimately what happened was on the 45th day, she was stabbed to death by this maniac while she was getting home from work.
And what was the police department's, what was their response?
Oh, well, the irony is that they said, well, there was nothing we can do. We were looking for this individual, but nobody could find him. And unfortunately, we dealt with delays that stopped us from being able to issue her permit. And this was just a permit just to go be able to buy a gun. It wasn't even a permit to conceal carry or carry the gun on her person. So we did our investigation. Every aspect of this so-called quote-unquote background check that the cops were blaming for her permit being delayed. Oh, we're waiting for the fingerprints from the FBI. Okay, we did a query with the FBI. They said the fingerprints were returned within 72 hours. They're digital. It's digitally done. They're returned. The background check's done almost. It's practically automated. It's all digital. And it was excuse after excuse after excuse. And, we responded by actually having a protest at our Senate President's house. I wasn't going to waste time going to an office and having more meetings with these people. And the irony is that the Senator Stephen Sweeney, his response was, well, the police departments are overwhelmed. His exact words were, they are overwhelmed and cannot be everywhere at the same place at all times. But within 5 minutes of being in his home, guess what happened? 4 police cars with 2 officers in each car showed up, along with the police chief himself showed up in his personal vehicle in his bathing suit. So the man was on vacation at the Jersey Shore, left to come back to give personal protection to the senator and his family because they called us a threat. Meanwhile, all we did was stand with signs and pictures of this woman and walked in front of his house.
Well, but doesn't it even, so he literally just stated the reason why there should be, it should be easier for individuals to be able to obtain a permit to be able to own a firearm because, like he said, police can't be everywhere. They can't They can't get there all the time.
Exactly.
And that's not that bad mouthing law enforcement.
That's not.
It's not. It's
law enforcement tells
realistic.
them. Yeah, they tell us we can't be everywhere at the same time.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, and this is another point that bothers me, is that when we talk one-on-one with most law enforcement officers, I'll probably say easily 90% of the time, on what their feelings are about gun ownership and concealed carry, a vast majority of them support it. But it's this small, less than 10%, this minute group of individuals that are always parading with Moms Demand Action, advocating for more gun laws that are not with the majority of people. Because the police know firsthand we can't be everywhere. Right. And by law, they're not liable or responsible to protect us.
Right. All right, so what are some of the things you're dealing with right now there in New Jersey?
Well, the magazine, they lowered our magazine capacity down from 15 rounds down to 10 rounds a few months ago. There was a 6-month grace period, which allows you to, quote-unquote, retrofit your firearm or be able to discard or transfer your magazines or your firearms that have fixed magazines to other states or other individuals. And that the actual law takes in effect in December 10th. There's a lawsuit against that. And, they had the extreme risk order, which is another, bogus thing that they're trying to do because, let's be realistic, the whole Parkland thing happened, and that's what sparked this extreme risk stuff. Nobody talks about the sheer negligence of the government in that situation. Oh, exactly. So instead of playing, once again, they took a horrific calamity and used that as an excuse to constrict our rights even more. And, so far we know of one example in New Jersey where we were contacted by an individual. His son was just talking about public safety and guns in school, Guess what? That evening, the cops show up at his house saying, "Hey, your son was in school talking about guns. We're here to confiscate your guns. We believe this is an extreme risk." That's the level of insanity we're dealing with in New Jersey.
Well, and that's the thing is that's all it takes. And when you say something like that, when you say that to people who are in some cases are reasonable people, when you say that, look, this is how it's going to be used, they're like, no, it's not. And then guess what?
That's exactly what it is.
That's
yeah,
exactly how it winds up being used.
The irony is that in 1966, while our quote unquote permitting process was enacted, and they started having to do these background checks, and it was done in the old-fashioned mail form, where you filled it out, you went to the police department mailed it to the FBI, they did a background check, they came back, you did a fingerprint the old way. Our older generation of members say, hey, how is it in 1960 something or the 1970s or the 80s, I would get my permit back within 3 weeks. But in the digital age of America today and in the 21st century, it's taking, they claim it takes months, but we know it doesn't. I have officers that get their permits done within 10 days. They say, yeah, they come in, they do the background checks, they check the FBI, they do run their fingerprints, and they issue them their permits in 10 to 12 days. But it's about their agenda, and that's the whole thing. You and I can have a conversation about it, but what you have to emphasize, you and I are talking logically.
Right.
The other side has an agenda. They want to bang guns, and that's all they want to do.
That's all they're interested in.
That's all they're interested in.
How do folks get a hold of you?
You can reach us at nj2as.org. We're on Facebook. We're very active on Twitter. We're also very active on YouTube. We have a great active YouTube channel. We make videos about these topics. And if you want to contact us directly through the website, once again, it's nj2as.org.
Fantastic, sir. Thank you so very much. We very much appreciate you.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys.
The work that you do. Being as I do what you do, I know it's not an easy thing.
Yeah, we both come from behind enemy lines, and
yes.
I actually want to thank you guys. You and Brandon are doing a fantastic job. I know you have a great team. There's been many nights where Brandon and I are texting or talking to the late hours, collaborating on things. Yeah. We help you guys out. You guys helped us out on plenty of times on many issues, and that's about the unity that we have in the gun rights movement that I don't think you're going to find anywhere else, because the opposition is funded by billionaires, and we have something that they cannot buy, and that's passion.
Exactly. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, folks, that's going to be it for this interview. Obviously, there's still more people here. There's still things that are going to be going on. We have a lot to talk about here at Gun Rights Policy Conference 2018. Please remember to tune in, like and share these videos. Let your friends know about the Firearms Policy Coalition. We are the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them, or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.